So do you want to kick off, Trav, or?
Yeah, for sure. Well, obviously our last HubSpot user group, we were all the way over in Boston, and we were covering all of the things that kind of came out of Inbound 2022. We went in depth in regards to the different features that have been released, and obviously all the new bonus added features currently, but also looking at sort of potential features moving into the next 12 months. For those that were not across that, we do have the video which is live on the YouTube channel. We'll actually put a link to that in the follow-up email that we've got for you as well. But it definitely was full of new features, and I think they're sort of trying to make it the Apple event of what they do, just to sort of, I guess, release all the new stuff that's coming in. If you go to the next slide. One thing I kind of want to mention as well, I sort of had a chat with AJ yesterday, and also this morning. Understandably, different people have got different problems to their communicating with their prospects or even sort of internal communication. So managed to grab my hands on a sort of a PDF which has 30 templates covering sales, marketing, and customer service. It's 19 pages of just ways and ideas that you could start using them. There's a lot of really, for Marguerite there's a lot of really good stuff that you could be using as well. A lot of examples and templates for e-commerce. And then also sort of mentioned, I think you guys have got a 30% off with MessageMedia for the end of the year. So we'll put a link to it at the end of the presentation, and then you can go through and get a copy of that PDF document and just receive a few extra credits and discounts and whatnot from AJ and the team. Next slide. Nice. So if you don't know who I am, I'm Trav. I run the HubSpot user group here for Brisbane. Ever since, I guess, COVID happened, it's not really sort of segmented by, like, I guess, where we live anymore. We've got a lot of people from overseas, New Zealand, all around Australia, even in America, that tune into our HubSpot user group. So welcome. And today I'm joined by AJ from MessageMedia, good friend of us here. Been working with him for a substantial amount of time, and I think it made sense for us to actually bring him in and actually start talking about SMS specifically, given, I guess, open rates for emails is starting to get a little bit murky. So do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, AJ, and what you've been up to?
Absolutely. Thank you, Trav, for having me. I am very excited to be joining the HubSpot user group. My name is AJ, and I am a partner manager / I'm part of the new sales team here at MessageMedia. My role here is to work a lot closely with a lot of partners in the HubSpot space, also working with a lot of HubSpot clients as well, getting them introduced to SMS and how they can potentially use it across various aspects of the business, whether that be marketing, sales, customer service, operations, and all kinds of stuff. Believe it or not, I did used to work at HubSpot back in the day, so I've got a very good knowledge about the HubSpot ecosystem, how that works, and the product knowledge with HubSpot as well, which kind of enables me to do quite well within the HubSpot client realm. And so today we do have a few use cases and some slide decks to go over. We can also go over a demonstration as well on what that looks like directly within HubSpot if you're not using it from HubSpot directly. And as Trav mentioned, we do have some discounts and things like that as well. If you've never used SMS, if you wanted to jump in and see what it's like without having to commit to anything, that's completely possible as well. We'll share those details with you. We do have, as Trav mentioned, we've got this really popular ebook as well that's going to be attached as part of this event, and you can grab yourself as well. It's very, very popular. It's got about 30-40 different use cases and how you could use it. It's got templates, and it's not purely catered to one department. You could use it for marketing, sales, as well as for customer service as well. So that's a bit about me. Feel free to chat. Feel free to ask us any questions about SMS, or if you've never used SMS, how to get started, anything like that, put it into the chat, and I'll be answering as you're going along. Cool.
I'll be manning it as we go along, so I'll interrupt you.
Sounds good. Well, here's the agenda that we have for today. Purely, we will discuss, we'll go through a bit of an intro, which we have done just right now. We'll discuss some popular use cases that we tend to see here at MessageMedia, and what those use cases are and how you can pretty much apply them within your operations through HubSpot if you're using it for your sales, marketing, and customer service. And also a really important integration, which is HubSpot. It allows you to kind of stay and maintain all your communications through one single system. So that's a really important feature as well that we go through today. And then questions, we'll open it up in the end. But obviously, if you have any questions as we're going along, feel free to distract me and ask those questions away. We want to keep this as interactive as possible. Cool. So we'll get right into it then. So first thing around solutions for customer messaging, obviously, messaging is used very, very widely across different industries, across different business units, and for various purposes as well. And what we have in this slide deck is some of the most popular use cases that we tend to see using from different businesses. And I think one of the key stat that we like to throw out in this industry is basically 90% of all your messages are read within 90 seconds. I'm sure you guys will agree as well. If you get a text message right now on your phone, you'll probably glance over it. And that's the power of text messaging. It has a very, very high cut through compared to all other social channels and other channels as well. It's got a very high conversion rate as well. And these are some of the use cases that we find extremely popular. So customer engagement by having two-way communication. A lot of the times when I'm speaking with businesses, I tend to hear that emails are not really working for them. They're not getting the same engagement. They're not having the same results via emails. So I tend to say, why don't you try SMS and see how that goes? You could use it for multiple purposes. And I think the best way to start is purely on like a one-to-one type of a messaging. So if you have a sales team that are using calling and things like that through HubSpot, you can also just implement SMS for things like appointment reminders and stuff, which we'll go into in a second. During COVID, a lot of businesses had a lot of interruptions and stuff. So text messaging was by default one of the fastest and the quickest way for a lot of businesses to get their messages across to their clients, their customers, their students, even their staff members, like in the healthcare, education space and things like that. So any kind of changes that are happening on a day-to-day basis, they'll be using SMS to be able to blast out a message to everyone that needs that messaging. Logistics and notifications as well. It's quite popular these days. Just as a good customer experience, if you purchase something online, you want to be able to know where your order is at, what's happening with that order. So things like delivery confirmations, delivery notifications, any changes to the deliveries and those kind of things are quite popular as well. And marketing campaigns, obviously, as we're heading into the Christmas period, the busy period for a lot of e-commerce retail kind of stores, this is our biggest period as well, and our busy period as well, coming into the Black Friday, Cyber Monday kind of sales. SMS by far, I think, based on the research that we've done, has the highest conversion rates. And a lot more businesses are now also utilizing things like mobile messaging with pictures. So you can send a picture message if there's a new product launch, or if you want to capture attention of your customers and things like that. Picture message works really, really well, more effective than just an SMS message as well. And obviously, employee communication. If it's a large organization and you want to quickly get your message out and get people aware of certain changes or introductions to something or notifications and things like that, you'll be able to also send out those kind of employee communications.
I think one thing with that as well, if those that haven't sort of been aware, HubSpot is sunsetting the internal SMS notifications. This is just due to privacy, and you can kind of send to whoever. So I haven't got the exact date. I can find that out as we talk through. But this is probably another use case that they're sort of now looking to people like MessageMedia to actually move those internal notification platforms like MessageMedia.
100%. Perfect. Going into that, so customer engagement, these are some of the use cases. Some of these may be relevant to your business or not. Things like customer updates, if there is any changes to delivery orders, if there is any disruption to their services and things like that, you'll be able to get a message out quickly to your customers, to your users as well. If there's like a service down and you want to notify a bunch of people, you'll be able to do that through SMS much faster than email. Appointment reminders, I think if we were to do an analysis of all of our customers and to see what is the most popular use case, we would probably say appointment reminders. Even if you're looking to get into SMS messaging, this is probably the quickest and the best way to introduce SMS within your organization, within your operations as well. Appointment reminders, like for things like dental practitioners, like clinics and those kind of things, are like gold because they don't want to have any no-shows. Like even one missed appointment can cost a lot of dollars for them in terms of lost time and things like that for their specialized service provider. User authentication is something that we're seeing quite often as well. A lot of software industries, a lot of software products are now going towards two-factor authentication, one-time passwords, and those kind of things. And SMS is by far the best way and the quickest way to get that message across and authenticate that user. And then the other one, obviously, is a service disruption as well. So if there is any changes that are happening in the industry or to the business, you'll be able to notify them. So it's purely mostly for like customer engagement side of things. Any questions before we move on, Trav?
All clear. Still trying to look for that date for the sunsetting. It's hard to find.
Yeah. All right, cool. So for the alerts and reminders as well, like what we mentioned, appointment reminders quite popular. Order delivery confirmation. So if you are doing shipments of your products and things like that, having a messaging service that allows people to be able to track deliveries, updates, and also even after like a delivery has been shipped, you can also utilize SMS to get reviews or customer satisfaction, NPS, and those kind of things, which we'll go into in a second. But those are something that we see quite often as well. And other things like service disruption, it's across across multiple industries, and you could use it as a channel. Staff updates, it is quite critical, especially in like healthcare sector, in what you call like education as well. If you want to, one thing that I commonly hear is that even those people that are working in those sectors, they very rarely, seldom check their email address. Some people have never even logged into their email. So prior to SMS, like email used to be that sole communication channel. And now what businesses are doing is they're pretty much broadening their channels in terms of getting in touch with their staff. So things like COVID updates, I know which is quite big up until the beginning of this year. If there was like an employee that was working for the healthcare sector and they need to be able to provide some kind of COVID certification or COVID checks and things like that, they'll be able to use that through SMS messaging too. Logistics and notifications, I think these are quite repetitive, so I'm just going to say like the appointment reminder, delivery confirmation again works quite vast, and it's used across many different industries and sectors. IT notifications for things like if you're sending out if it's like a software product and you want to be able to send out notifications if a limit has been used or things like that, you'll be able to easily send out an SMS as well. For those kind of things, you'll be able to use APIs for SMS to be able to trigger out, so you can connect it directly with the software product that you're using and send out messages as soon as there's like a new user that's joining or like a restriction, or if they've hit like the threshold and those kind of stuff. And also for staff rostering, and like especially in the hospitality space, which is quite important. If there is like a space that needs to be filled, text out a message to everyone that's not working or that has an off day that day to ask who's available, but then also send out like scheduling and rosters and those kind of stuff via SMS, and then you could link it to a PDF or an Excel sheet with the rosters and where they're working. Marketing campaign, as we're going into the Black Friday, Cyber Monday, as well as the Boxing Day type of sales, this is something that we are working on very, very heavily in. in the retail e-commerce space. Marketing campaigns, it's very easy to just basically upload a list of numbers and send out a message, but the conversion rate for those kind of messaging is low when it's not really personalized. Whereas when you connect it with HubSpot, you'll be able to personalize it with the information that you have about that contact, about the recent purchases, about anything specifically that you have. You could use that in a text message. So a powerful text message would have something like, "Hi, first name," which is very personalized. Since your last order, or you could say that you haven't purchased with us in the last 30 days, why don't you take 10% off? Or like a lot of brands, a lot of businesses are doing things like birthday sales. So for instance, if it's a birthday, give them a 25% off and those kind of things. And it builds a lot of loyalty with that customer to that brand as well. And you can utilize that. And we're also seeing a lot of picture messaging. It's a really, really quick and easy way to kind of cut through the noise. I'm sure a lot of businesses, a lot of people are also getting SMSs these days. So if you want to stay on top of mind, if you want to get their attention, you can send them a picture of like a new product launch or like a 30% off with like something that catches their attention, like a GIF, for instance, and that would definitely much more cut through the noise than any other channels. And also in the e-commerce space, cart abandonment is quite big. So when people go onto the website, they add something to the cart, but they don't complete the purchase. We can capture that information through HubSpot, and we can actually delay a message, I don't know, like 15 minutes or 30 minutes after the cart has been abandoned. You can send out a message to say, "Hey, you forgot something in your cart," with like that personalized URL. So when they click that URL, people will be able to make that purchase instantly on the phone. I think there was a stat about 76% of last year's Black Friday sales or purchases have all been made via mobile phone. So that's a really, really good way to capture your audience where they are, which is on their mobile devices. Things like customer engagement as well. So if you wanted to get like an NPS, like a survey, product feedback, and those kind of things, you'll be able to create like a two-way kind of a messaging as well. So you say, "Hey, you recently purchased this item. How was it? Like, how would you rate it 1 out of 5? And you'll be able to create different automations. And if it's like a 5, for instance, you may want to send them a review link. If it's a 1, for instance, you may want to get your team members to call them and say, "What can we do better next time?" And then also in terms of trackability, it's very, very important to be able to analyze and track what the campaign success has been. So things like click-through rates, things like delivery rates are extremely important. So if you'll be able to use like a UTM parameter, you can actually see how many people have clicked onto that specific link in that message. And from there, how many people have added to their cart, how many people have purchased, what the total ROI is based on the SMS spend. And it's really, really important to be able to track that. And we'll be able to track that using like a URL shortener. You can use a Bitly if that's something that you guys are already using, or you could use something that we provide, which is automatically out of the box as well. And that becomes trackable. Cool. Employee communication, I think I'm going to skip that. It's very similar to what we had in the previous slides as well. There is a lot more businesses are looking to utilize SMS as a way to communicate a lot of information. So they're using SMS as a channel to basically have the same information as they would have in an email. So things like new product launches or changes to any kind of operations, or even like marketing style promotions and things like that. Like we work with HelloFresh, for instance, and they use something called a mobile landing page, where they would have a text message, which should normally contain about 160 characters. That's equivalent to one message. Obviously, you're not able to fit all of the content and the message in that single message. So you can create something called like a mobile landing page, where you can have a brand, like logos, you can have pictures in them. You can also personalize the text in the body of that message itself in that landing page. So each unique receiver will see it differently, and they will have something that is personalized to them. And then from there, on that mobile landing page itself, you can actually have a couple of different call to actions as well. So for instance, with Easy Eats, which is similar to HelloFresh, they have something like claim offer, which is a click, like a call to action, or they have something called like speak to us. So if they click on either of those buttons, that becomes trackable, and then you can do other actions as well, take them to the website, have like a form submission, or when they click on speak to us, pick up, like have that directed to the phone app as well, so they can call in. So any questions before we move on? This is something that's becoming really, really popular. It's just the ability to have similar type of information from an email as part of the text message, basically.
I've probably got a question around the sort of mobile landing pages. I guess these are just built in the landing pages tool inside HubSpot, and then you're able to sort of personalize based on that. I assume that's where you're seeing the use cases.
Yeah. So there's two ways. Obviously, HubSpot landing pages is a lot more powerful, and you'll be able to personalize it and have that smart content and things like that. That's one way of doing that. A lot of the times when I'm working with clients, like only the marketing teams would probably have the access to creating new landing pages and forms like that. And if it's like a sales department, or like a sales enablement, or even like an operations team, or like a customer survey team that are looking to do something like this, but they don't have access to those tools, there's something in MessageMedia that allows you to basically just drag and drop and quickly create a landing page without having to know any coding or any development skills or anything like that. You can just drag and drop the picture, drag and drop the logo and the body of that message as well, like in the landing page itself, and you'll be able to shoot that out as well. So there's two ways you can use HubSpot for doing that, and I would recommend, if you have access to HubSpot, you can really personalize that content with smart content. If that's not an option, then there is another option within MessageMedia as well. Cool.
Awesome.
Perfect. Well, as you probably know, like a lot more businesses are looking to utilize text messaging now, and I'm sure like in the future, it's probably going to become a channel that almost every business will use. So what is the future of messaging? How can you stand out when that happens? These are some of the industry trends that we are seeing in the market. So things like having rich communication services. So this is not available in Australia purely because of the carrier restrictions, but this is something that that we're working towards as part of the industry. So having something like a rich communication service. So this will allow businesses to be able to send out like a rich communication, have that like basically like an app notification, but you'll be able to have a two-way type of engaging communication from that app for things like automated messages, right? So if someone goes in and starts some messaging from there, you can create a bot to say, how can we help you? If they say pricing, and have another app and things like that. So you'll be able to kind of automate a lot of these things by using something called like a rich communication services. This is, again, very early in the stage. It's still in planning. I think some countries are able to do that. Some countries are not. Australia hasn't caught up to this yet. But this is something that is happening or brewing in the industry. Another thing, what we are really seeing is the ability to basically take that content from the website or an email, or even like a social ad, like LinkedIn post, Facebook, Instagram posts, and things like that, and having to have the same content, give that enough information, but in something in a way that people will read, and it's easily accessible and it's easily available on the mobile phone. So again, this is where the things like mobile landing pages are crucially important, but then also having the ability to like see something visually is a lot more powerful than just having a bunch of words on a phone message. And two-way customer engagement as well. Like in the past, businesses used to purely just send one-way messaging and hoping that people would click in and kind of create that kind of a marketing channel. But what we're seeing these days is a lot more people are available to text rather than answer a phone call or send an email. So even us here at MessageMedia, we've done that test as well. Like when we compare our phone pickup rates to over emails versus a text messaging communication, we see a very high engagement rate, right? SMS rather than via email or via phone call. So you'll be able to create those two-way engagements as well. And then having the ability to basically channel all of those different social channels as well. So for instance, if someone found you on LinkedIn and they go onto Facebook and they clicked on an ad and they, I don't know, message you via Messenger, but then also you create like a journey via SMS, you want to be able to kind of have all of that one single source of truth for that customer. So what business or what our business is doing right now is basically having the ability to create like a hub for multi-channel, for things like WhatsApp, things like Instagram messaging, Facebook messaging, and obviously text messaging as well. It all kind of funnels down into one single tool and under that single contact. So anyone that goes into that contact, they'll be able to see what the past conversation has been instead of having it living in like a silo tool. So that's basically what it is. What's happening in the industry around SMS, and I think based on my experiences with working with a lot of different various type of businesses, SMS is really becoming like a more of a mature platform or a channel for a lot of businesses to be using. And those businesses that have been using SMS since early times, now they're going into more of like rich communications, like things like WhatsApp messaging, or doing mobile landing pages, or even doing like picture messaging, something very simple to capture attention.
I just had a question. I have an answer, but keen to know if we're aligned. How do you typically have new clients opt into SMS updates? See if we're on the same page with the answer.
Sorry, so was that SMS OptIns?
So how do you typically have new clients opt into SMS updates?
Yeah. So there are a couple of ways. Fortunately, in Australia, there isn't like a really harsh rule like America, for instance, or even New Zealand. Like there is a need to have a double opt-in. So people would need to, they generally like check a box and say, yes, I consent to receiving SMS marketing and those kind of things. In Australia, again, I'm not like a legal expert. This is what we tell our customers, is that if you have received a phone number from a purchase or things like that, you'll be able to use that number for more of like like an operational transactional type of messaging. But as soon as it's becoming more of like a marketing style messages, then you'll be able to get opt-in through like a landing page, for instance, or you can have a pop-up form on the website to say if you would like to receive SMS communication on the updates, or like new purchases, new product launches, or new services, and those kind of things. You can use you can use that form to basically submit the number. So those are a couple of ways. What I've seen work quite well with my past clients is that if they have like a really high email database, like a subscriber list, they'll be able to send out like an email with like a landing page to say, would you like to receive an SMS updates for new products, promotions, offers, or even just for us to communicate via SMS. You'd be surprised as to how many people would rather receive an SMS over email or phone call. And I've seen this work really well, especially for like those businesses that are looking to do quick like sales or promotions for things like Black Fridays.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned the same thing. I was like, as long as you have a tick box there to say that you're allowing them to send SMS and or emails from time to time. But if you're doing one-to-one communications, I think a good rule of thumb, personally, in my opinion, is just to be upfront and honest and say from time to time to send through some SMSs. If that's not okay, just let me know, which could be just inside the email signature as well. I always, as I put down there, a good rule of thumb is just no surprises. Rather be upfront and honest and communicate straight up rather than sort of having an angry person saying, why are you messaging me, etc. So
yeah, no, 100%. And what I've seen also a lot of businesses do is they just include SMS as part of their terms and conditions on the website, and that should cover them legally and stuff. And that's completely fine as well, as long as like if you're sending out marketing promotional type of messaging, if you have that stop to opt out and you actually do unsubscribe those people, it should be fine. Cool. Well, I guess for the best part around how you can potentially utilize SMS within HubSpot, a lot of the times when businesses are using HubSpot, it becomes like the source of truth for all communication, for all customer journeys and things like that. So what we've done is basically taken that same approach and building an integration into HubSpot that allows those users to be able to just stay in that single platform without having to learn a new platform and do messaging from there. So once the integration's been added to the HubSpot instance, you'll be able to see messaging in two different options. One would be on the contact record itself. You'll have a little section on the right hand side over here that says most recent SMSs, MMSs. Users are able to go in, click into that button, and they can type out a message. They can have a template message and send a message that way. It's super simple. Takes a couple of buttons. A lot of the times you'll be able to just create those templates. You're not having to type out messages. And once you hit send, then that message gets delivered to that contact. And all of that records that are, or all of the messages that are getting sent get stored as an activity as well. So I know that in like financial services space, any communication that's getting sent or received by a client would have to be stored somewhere. So this is quite important for them, just being able to kind of record all of that communication in that single instance as well. And if there is a response to a message, then that goes back into HubSpot as well. And you'll be able to create different ways of alerting that contact owner when a message is received. So you can set up like a HubSpot in-app notification. So they get a little icon on the bell symbol saying, hey, an SMS is received. Or if they don't look at that, you can create like a task for them. Or you can set up like a simple email alert as well to say, hey, you've just received an SMS, and they can click into that email, which will then take them directly to that contact profile. So this is that one-to-one messaging. Now, I have been working with a couple of businesses that what happens is that they want to store all of this communication directly in HubSpot, but not everyone in their company or their firm has access to HubSpot. Let's say the marketing team would have access to HubSpot, but the sales team are kind of doing their own thing on a different platform maybe, or they're purely just living on their calendar and their emails, but they want to be able to have that two-way communication recorded within HubSpot. So for that instance, what we've done is we built a contact sync option, which allows you to sync your contacts in your list from MessageMedia into from HubSpot into MessageMedia portal. So you can give access to those guys that don't have HubSpot access to MessageMedia. They can send and receive messages, and any of those messages that are getting sent from MessageMedia and gets logged under that contact in HubSpot. Cool. We are also working on the integrations to be able to kind of allow messaging to be done through the conversational inbox. A lot of the times teams are purely just living in that conversational inbox, answering emails, tickets, WhatsApps, calls, and everything in that single channel. So we are looking at building the SMS integration into that as well. It's a bit of a long cycle, product development cycle, but that's something that we are looking to build as well. So that's the one-to-one. Anyone that has access to a particular contact can just go in and send a message and receive a message. It's a very, very simple tool. In a lot of the times, businesses want to automate a few things, or they want to build out like a bulk messaging, or they want to send out like a message to a list of contacts or something like that, or a form submission. And for that reason, we've also built the integration directly into the workflows as well. So now you'll be able to add SMS to your existing workflows, wherever you think you have emails, for instance, and these are important emails, and you want people to open these emails, you'll be able to kind of use that in parallel as well. So you can send an email to a list of contacts, a list of form submissions, a list of customers, etc. And then you can actually add in other clauses, things like if an email hasn't been opened, and in 2 hours, then send them an SMS to say, hey, we've just sent your correspondence. Please check your junk or your spam for that correspondence. It's very, very common in like education, for instance, right? Like if someone's going through an onboarding journey, like an enrollment, and the enrollment team's waiting for like documentation, like passport numbers or things like that, they'll be able to use SMS to simply communicate directly with them, but then also use email as an other option as well. So you'll be able to add basically SMS in conjunction with emails, so they can both talk to each other. And you'll be able to do things like listening out for a response, right? So for instance, when you send an SMS, let's just say in this particular one over here, this is for an event attendance, and you want to send out like an SMS to everyone that has attended an event in the past, and you just want them to like RSVP if they would like to attend the new event that's coming up. You can send out that initial message to say, please respond yes if you'd like to confirm. Please reply yes if you're attending or not. And then based on that response, we can actually create an entire new workflow. So we can say that if an SMS is received and the content of the message is like yes, for instance, then reply back with another message to say, thank you, here is your registration link, or here's your information, or here's the Google Maps of where that event is taking place. And for instance, if they say no, then enroll them into like a different journey. So you'll be able to actually create an entire new journey based on SMSs sent as well as SMSs that have been received.
Some of the good well is if you're working sort of B2C or B2B and you have a meeting with someone specifically, potentially sending them a text message an hour beforehand, just saying, just confirming our meeting coming up, just let us know either way. I know that will help. Obviously, sometimes things come up and meetings get cancelled right at the last minute. Happens quite frequently, but if you can get a bit of time, then you might get a bit more time in your day back anyway, and be able to offer the opportunity to rebook with a new meeting link. HubSpot does offer you now the ability to cancel or reschedule, so being able to sort of utilize those links too to reschedule to a new time, all automatic without having to even manually do anything. It can just do it by itself, so it's a really good feature.
100%. I think automation is key over here. If your sales teams are like they're booking their meetings and stuff through HubSpot, and you've got that information, you'll be able to automate a message at the start of the day, 1 day, 2 days before, to confirm that meeting. You can actually give the client the option to respond back as well. If it's a yes, then you may want to like create another meeting, or like let the salesperson know this meeting is happening. Whereas if they respond no, you may want to send out like another SMS to say, no worries, here's another meeting link, please find a convenient time. Right?
I was going to say in the chat, if anyone's got any workflow, if they are currently using automations with SMS, feel free to share some of your creations. I know if you're kind of like a workflow nerd like me, you like to set in there and do specific cool things. If there's some ones that you want to share with everybody of some of the creations that you've done, just share it in the chat box.
Yes,
I'll reach out to you when we get a couple of curly ones.
Yeah, that would be great. And I think another thing that you can potentially also do through this, which I've come across in the past, is like NPS scores or surveys, like feedbacks. After a service has been done, let's just say if they call the support team or the customer success team, and once the call has been done, you may want to send out a message to say, hey, thank you for reaching out to us. How was your experience out of 1 to 5, right? They can respond back. And then you can create a journey based on that as well. If it's a 1, then do this. If it's a 2, do this. If it's a 5, then maybe send out another message to say, no worries, why don't you leave us a review or something like that. So that's something that you can do as well, which is quite powerful.
One of the cool things I saw, there's an integration with HubSpot called Handwritten. It's a US company, but basically what you can do is you can use handwritten notes in a workflow. So for example, if you are, sending out an SMS and something, you get a score of, an NPS of 9 to 10 or something along those lines, you can actually use a workflow to humanize the automation to go through and actually, it'll go through and send it through to handwritten, of which you use your personalization tokens to send them an actual card, which is actually written by robots with an actual pen, which is really quite amazing. So there's a few ideas to use that NPS and be able to, I guess, delight them after that stage too. So
That's very interesting. I've never heard of that. It'd be great for me to look into.
I'll put a link in the chat. I'll send it to you after.
Sounds good. Well, moving on. So let us see some templates. I've gone through, picked 3 templates, one for marketing, one for sales, one for customer service, and how that can be applied. So the first one is how you can improve conversions by engaging with customers. So this is purely like, but let's say someone goes into the website, they're booking a call, or they start a trial maybe, or they download some kind of an an ebook or some kind of a content. Maybe the content is a bit too much to start with, but especially like if they're booking a call, booking a trial, or they apply for some things on the website, you'll be able to create like a journey from that. Say if a form has been submitted, then I don't know, send them an email, wait for a day or two, send them an SMS this time to say, how are you finding your things? Do you need any help? You can reach out to our superstars here by booking a meeting or booking a call or something. So that's something that works quite well, giving the users the ability to kind of book in the time that they are open to. And yeah, it's just a really good way to kind of convert the leads as well. And for instance, like if it's a software product and let's say someone signed up for the trial, but you haven't been able to get a hold of them, they haven't really logged in, they haven't really used it, you may want to send out like updates to say, oh, like people in your industry are using this product for this kind of purpose. Have you saw that? Or maybe like link it to some kind of like a blog article or something on the website, just to kind of get those people back in on the website and potentially use their trial. Again, I think we've just went over this, which is the attendance or the booking reminders. I'd say this is probably one of the most important and probably one of the best ways to get started with SMS. If you are kind of on the fence and using SMS and you're kind of not sure if your clientele will be like annoyed or something, then I think this is probably really the best way to get started, is to kind of introduce SMS purely from like an appointment reminder perspective. Because come on, let's be honest, if someone has said they want to meet with you, then there is some kind of an interest or there's some kind of an intent. You don't want to waste those guys' times, or no one's time for that matter of fact. So you can actually just introduce SMS, say, hey, we've got a meeting with the contact owner tomorrow at this time, this day, just making sure that you're okay with it. Or if you want to send them an agenda or something like that, you can do that. And if they reply back and say they're not available, that's completely fine. You can send them another message to say that's all good. Here's another meeting link for you guys to use and find a time that's convenient. I think the last one, which is the customer engagement with the NPS survey. So you'll be able to basically create those SMSs from the feedback section, the customer survey section within HubSpot. So you'll be able to do things like this. You can send out a form or an email. If based on that response, you'll be able to then create a text message automation. This is one way of doing it. The other way you can also do it is purely through workflows. Like a contact-based workflow. Let's say if a deal has been won, or if it's a deal's been gone through one stage to another stage, you may want to send out let's say if a ticket's been closed, for instance, you may want to send out a message to say, hey, how was your experience with our support team, our customer success team? Please rate it from 1 to 5. They will text back, and based on that reply, you can create like another automation or like another journey based on that response.
I've put links in the chat just for the ones that I spoke about there before. And I've also put a link in the chat too, just in regards to HubSpot and MessageMedia. And I think that landing page, AJ, just kind of steps it out a little bit more, some more functionality and whatnot too. So.
Cool. Well, so we are towards the end. So those 3 different workflows that we just saw, those use cases are from this template book over here. It's got about 30 SMS templates for marketing, sales, and customer success. It also has templates that you can use, not just like the workflows. You can also copy and paste the exact messaging content that you should be using to kind of optimize your messaging. And yeah, so you'll be able to get that booklet from the website. and it will have everything in there. If you have any questions on the back of that, obviously I'm happy to answer that questions. You can email me, or you can get in touch with Trav, and he can facilitate something, or he can answer it on our behalf.
Give it a crack. And did you want to have a chat around, I know we just sort of mentioned before we jumped on about that 30% off for the guys here. Did you want to sort of explain that if they sort of download this, they can reach out to you or you can reach out to them just in regards to that 30% off offer?
Yeah, sounds good. So once you download this, if you're interested in getting like a free trial account, reach out to one of us, or we can send you an email on where to go. And so you'll have 25 credits to start with on a free trial account, which you'll be able to send. It is literally like a plug and play integration. There's no real development or anything like that necessary. The click of a button, and that gets added to your HubSpot instance. Once you're happy with what you see, then we are running a promotion until the end of this year. So you'll be able to get 30% off for all your messaging from whenever you sign up till 31st of December. That's something that our marketing team has organized. Cool. So that's me. Any questions? And I think I can't see the screen, but I'm hoping there's lots of questions coming through. I will stop the screen share.